Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and I would have had this done a little bit earlier, but I got a bunch of crap going on, and I just didn't quite sound myself until I cleaned more of the blood out of my nose. Still, on the mend a lot faster than I thought. And you know what that means? It's time to jump into more spoilers! So yeah, I'm a little bit behind, but, well, at this point, if you want to see spoilers absolutely as soon as humanly possible, you probably didn't see them on my channel anyway. If you want a mixture of dumb and very insightful deep commentary, ho ho! Here we go. Inscribed tablet. Guys, when I sit down to carve my clay tablets, I always make a jar of scissor. So this is wild. You pay 1 to drop it in, and then you can pay 1 and tap it, and obviously it doesn't have summoning sickness, so feel free. Sack it, and then reveal the top 5 cards of your library, grab a land from it, any land at all, put it in your hand, but if you fail to do so, then draw a card. Not from the 5. The next card. I kept thinking, well, why would you miss on purpose? So that eliminates it from Vintage and Legacy. That was like the first place I went because, come on, a 1-drop that costs 1 to activate? Ponder and, like, I think still Brainstorm and other cards like it are banned in multiple formats. I mean, Treasure Cruise. Okay, that one's a little different, but yeah. The consistency booster cards, and then having this a 1-drop and pay 1 in any color? But I just don't see it because, like, unless you really need a land, and if you do, there's better ways to get it. I mean, just Evolving Wilds. So this has got to do something. I just can't put my finger on it. And they put it in the uncommon slot, so it's like they're onto something. It might just be a draft and sealed color fixer. I don't know. But you know what isn't? Defiler of Faith. It's 5 cost, double white 5/5 Phyrexian human. And Vigilance, and as an additional cost to cast white permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Those spells cost 1 white less to cast. I can read. If you paid life this way, this effect reduces only the amount of white mana you pay. Whenever you cast a white permanent spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Okay, I mean, yeah, it should cost 5. This is part of a cycle. It's powerful, but it's not overpowerful, and it's interesting, but it's not overly interesting. As in, too much text and confusing. It's still a little bit of text, but, yeah, I mean, this whole set seems really, really, like, well-designed. Well, not the whole set. 95% of the set seems really well-designed. Interesting new ideas. It's like they finally found people who give a crap. They should retain them. So next up, Phoenix Chick. That's just adorable. It's a 1-drop... red 1/1, flying haste, and it can't block. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, you may pay 2 red. If you do, return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking with a 1/1 counter on it. Now, you may think, oh, it gets bigger every time. No, when it dies, it loses the counter. It can only be a 2/2. So, recursion, that's a little bit hard to pull off, but still good. Kind of decent, but if you're going to do that, you might as well make it, like, a little better than this. But still, it's a 2/2 for 1, but not really. It's 2, so... I mean, yeah, it's no zombie where it's just, at your end step, return it to the battlefield because we said so. Or that black boxing atrocity from New Capenna. Don't even get me started. Wow, they actually did a Phoenix right for once, when we've had such overpowered game-ruining Phoenixes in the last couple of years. Amazing. Next up, Bortuk Banarattle, or as I like to call them, Your Mom. It's a 6-cost black-green 4/4 legendary creature troll shaman with domain. Whenever it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, choose target creature card in your graveyard. Return that card to the battlefield if its mana value is less than or equal to the number of basic land. You know how domain works. Otherwise, put it in your hand. Okay. So you get a retry on something, but you got to pay for it fair. Otherwise, you don't, but only if it's your land types, which heavily implies that you almost definitely would have been able to cast it naturally, but maybe not, but not enough to self-mill. So it's like a well-balanced, plus it costs 6, you know, good Graveyard Resurrector conditional free caster. Like... They are walking the line, but they are very well on the side of this is still fair, you know? I didn't think WotC was capable of this. I really did. I'm blown away by this set. I'm blown away by how stupid 3 or 4 of the cards are and careless and just idiotic and immediately in need of a ban, but the rest of them, wow. Next up, Cult Conscript. It's a 1-cost 2/1 Skeleton Warrior, and it enters the battlefield tapped. If you pay 2, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only if a non-skeleton creature died under your control this turn. It's a non-legendary double tribal 2/1 for 1. I don't love that. I mean, it's not the end of the world. You got to pay 2 to resurrect it, and paying 2 for a 2/1 already isn't very good, but you had to have lost something else. Now, that goes pretty good with the zombies archetype in multiple formats, but it itself is not one. So we'll have to see where this fits in. It's definitely interesting. Next up, Hero's Heirloom. It's a 2-cost colorless artifact equipment, and equipped creature gets +2/+1. As long as equipped creature is legendary, it has trample and haste. Equip 2. So this is a draft first pick right here, unless the rare slot is hot. And even then, and the equip cost isn't different for legendary, which kind of makes it a little too much. It's just good. I mean, trample and haste, okay. You know, it's just a darn good card. But it's still useful and playable instead of completely irrelevant and frustrating if you don't have the perfect condition to maximize it. They need to do more tiered cards or like backup condition cards like this. The set design for real. Next up, Rona's Vortex. Interesting name choice. It's a 1 blue instant with kicker 2 generic plus 1 black. And it says, return target creature planeswalker you don't control to its owner's hand. Oh, that's annoying. If this spell was kicked, put that permanent on the bottom of its owner's library instead. Maybe I just don't like trampoline yo-yo bounce cards because that stupid Leviathan crab ruined it, but honestly, I didn't like them before that either. Just nobody played them because it was pointless. They'll just recast it. So they were just dead on arrival cards that did nothing but waste a card slot in your hand and just be annoying and maybe make an aura fall off. But that's fine. I was fine with that. You were fine with that. Everybody was fine with that, but they had to push it. Just like cycling. So I like the kicker cost, the color association, and like the, you know, everything about it. That's neat. It makes sense. I just don't like 1 cost instant speed bounces. At least they can't save their own crap with this, but still, I hate this. Just the concept in general and what they've done with it, maybe this card will be fine. Next up, Monstrous Warleech, which looks not Phyrexian. Huh, there you go. So it's a star power and toughness. Ooh. 4 cost single black, Leech Horror creature, uncommon. And it has kicker 1 blue, and then as it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, mill 4 cards, you yourself, and then its power and toughness are each equal to the highest mana value among cards in your graveyard. Okay, so if you're doing like a Resurrector style deck, like my old El Zombly deck where you just mill an Eldrazi into the graveyard and slam it into play for like not enough mana, yeah, they made it a little too cheap back then. This would be a good card to go with it, just in case you want to like conditionally, you know, try and hit them with this or burn a kill spell, or I should say draw a kill spell from your opponent while threatening them with this, and then resurrect your big horror. I think that archetype's going to get a little bigger when this comes out. Next up, Founding the Third Path. It's a 2-cost blue saga, and it has read ahead, which means you can start at 1, 2, or 3. And 1 is you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 1 or 2 from your hand without paying its mana cost. But you just paid 2 for this, so like, okay, kind of effectively almost makes this free, but only if you had like, I don't know, probably a draw or scry card in all likelihood, but possibly something else. Chapter 2 is target player mills 4 cards. Well, that's just annoying. Don't want to support that. And 3, exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the copy. So this is just annoying blue crap all in 3 parts, and you can read ahead. I hate this. I hate everything about it. Next up, Coalition Sky Knight. It's 4-cost 2/2 human knight with flying and enlist. You guys probably know what enlist does at this point. So this is, you know, with being flying, okay, cool, but it's a 2/2 for 4. So it's already so far behind. It's just not good. Next up, Citizen's Arrest. Yes, I do believe it was him. I think you are correct. That is freaky. Anyway, it's a double white 3-cost enchantment. Oh, you know this is just Arrest. Or whatever that old Ravnica card was. I don't know, you guys know. Before I even read it, you know what this is. So, when Citizen's Arrest enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls until Citizen's Arrest leaves the battlefield. Really, is that what it does? I like this better than like Fairgrounds Warden. I mean, yeah, you could attack with that, but also they could destroy it a heck of a lot easier. So this is in the common slot. Watch for this as a control card for draft, but watch out for running 2 colors, which, yeah, you are. I mean, I've done good with mono, but it was a miracle. Yeah, the double white would get you some of the time, but yeah, this is a really good card. Next up, Walking Bulwark, aka every Pixar movie ever. So it's a 1-cost colorless golem, 0/3 with defender, and if you pay 2 until end of turn, target creature with defender gains haste. So this one or a different one can attack as though it didn't have defender and assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Activate only as a sorcery. So this is just good. I mean, you gotta pay, it's not that good, but it has effectively like 3 toughness and 3 power at that point. So you stall out the game early, and then you go on the assault. So it's not useless, but it's not a stupid flipper deck where you just drop in 1 or 2 things that are like almost impossible to remove, and now all of your defenders attack with their toughness. I can't stand that archetype personally. It's gimmicky, it's stupid, it's easy to stop, and when you get beat by it, you're just like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Not quite, you know, on the groan meter to the level of mill, but it's close. So this, you do it one time, you do it if you have nothing better to do, and I love it. And giving every color deck and every, you know, possible sealed pool, draft pool, whatever, access to this, very smart. Slows it down, lets you breathe, and the only way they're going to beat you in a draft with a cheap gimmicky deck is either, you know, game-killing bomb rares and mythics, as usual, or all flying, because they're not just going to, ha-ha, everything costs 1 and 2, and I'm blitzing past you. Usually 1 big creature will shut them down, but a 0/3 on turn 1, when it's their turn 0, will also shut them down for a while. Next up, Pilfer, which is a 2-cost black sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. I already hate it. You choose a non-land card from it. I already hate it. That player discards that card. Oh, I'm okay with it now. Just kidding. I hate this. Keep your eyes and your hands off my cards. I want to play them. I hate you, comma, you jackass. At least this doesn't cost 1, but still, that doesn't really make it better. So that's it for today, but I'm going to keep them rolling tomorrow. Legit, I spent about an hour and a half doing prep work for a potluck at work tomorrow. And also, legitimately, my nose was bleeding all morning, and it just smells like iron. So been bleeding on and off, a lot of tissue damage, unfortunately, but I'll live. And that is actually the real reason that this video is coming out so late. So hey, I'll see you guys next time.